Welcome, Barbarians, new and returning. Today we're doing an introduction to the Barbarian changes from 5th edition to 1D&D. We're going to go over the core traits, and then each level, 1, 2, and 3, just up to where you get your subclass, or as 5th edition called them, primal paths. Hi, editing Hermit here. I used 1D&D throughout this video. Looks like it is now being called D&D 2024. Going forward, I'm going to use this, so please just bear with me for this one video. Thanks. The core traits of the Barbarian: hit dice, saving throws, skills, weapons, armor, starting equipment. Most of these are unchanged in 1D&D. Hit dice is a d12, saving throws are strength and constitution, skills are 2 from animal handling, athletics, intimidation, nature, perception, and survival. Weapons are simple and martial weapons. Armor is light and medium armor, including shields. And then the difference comes with the starting equipment. In 5th edition, you had the choice of a great axe or a martial melee weapon, 2 hand axes or a simple weapon, and then you would get an explorer's pack and 4 javelins. Instead of doing that set of equipment, you could do starting gold, which was 2d4 times 10. Usually you would end up with 50 gold, but you could end up with as low as 20 or as much as 80. And then in 5th edition, you would get a small amount of gold from your background of anywhere between 5 and 25. 25, of course, being the noble background. In 1D&D, you get a great axe, 4 hand axes, an explorer's pack, and 15 gold. Or you can take a lump sum of 75 gold. And then your background will give you 50 gold. Level 1. Unarmored defense remains unchanged in 1D&D. While a barbarian is not wearing armor, their AC is equal to 10 plus their dexterity modifier plus their constitution modifier. This can be increased further using a shield. Rage. As a bonus action on the barbarian's turn, they can enter a rage. While raging, they would gain advantage on strength checks and saving throws, a bonus to damage with melee attacks that use strength, resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage, but they cannot cast or maintain concentration on spells. In 5th edition, the duration of rage was 1 minute. It ended if you became unconscious or hadn't attacked a creature or taken damage since the end of your last turn. In 1D&D, the duration is up to 10 minutes, it lasts until the end of your next turn, and you can extend the duration to the end of your next turn by completing any of the following. Make an attack roll against an enemy, force an enemy to make a saving throw, such as grappling, or take a bonus action to extend your rage. In 5th edition, you gained rages per day. At levels 1 to 2, you would have 2 rages. At 3 to 5, you would have 3 rages. At 6 to 11, you would have 4 rages. 12 to 16, you would have 5 rages. At 17 to 19, you would have 6 rages. And at level 20, you would have no limit on your rages. In 1D&D, however, levels 1 to 2 get 2 rages. 3 to 5 gets 3 rages. 6 to 11 has 4 rages. 12 to 16 has 5 rages. And 17 to 20 has 6. In 5th edition, you regained all of your rages on a long rest. In 1D&D, however, you not only get that, but each short rest, you get back 1 expended rage. Weapon mastery is wholly new in 1D&D. You gain the mastery properties of 2 types of weapons that are simple or martial. And at the end of each long rest, you can change what weapon you have mastery over. You gain additional weapon masteries as you level. At level 4, you gain 1 more. And at level 10, you gain another one, for a total of 4. The mastery properties are Cleave, Graze, Nick, Push, Sap, Slow, Topple, and Vex. Cleave, which you may see in the Great Axe, is once per turn when you hit a target, you can make another attack against a second target within your reach and within 5 feet of the first target. The damage of this attack does not add your ability modifier. Graze, which you would see in the Greatsword, if your attack misses, you instead deal damage of the weapon's damage type equal to your ability modifier. Nick, which you would see on a dagger, the additional attack you make as part of the light weapon property is now part of the attack action, meaning you no longer need to use the bonus action to make the attack with the light weapon. Push, which you would see in a Warhammer, on a hit, you can move a creature 10 feet away from you if it is large or smaller. Sap, which you would see in the Morning Star, On a hit, that creature has disadvantage on its next attack roll before the start of your next turn. Slow, which you would see on a javelin, on hit, the creature's speed is reduced by 10 feet. This effect does not stack with itself. Topple, which you would see in a maul, on hit, the creature must make a Constitution saving throw of DC 8 plus your ability modifier that you used for the attack, plus your proficiency bonus, or be knocked prone. And then finally, Vex, which you would see in a blowgun. On hit, you gain advantage on your next attack roll against that creature before the end of your next turn. Level 2. Reckless Attack. Decide when making your first attack to gain advantage on attacks made this turn that use Strength. In exchange, all attack rolls made against you before the start of your next turn gain advantage. In 1D&D, there's a slight tweak to this, that your attacks retain advantage until the start of your next turn, meaning attacks of opportunity that you make, or other people's class features such as Commander Strike, will allow you to continue making your attacks at advantage. Danger Sense. Advantage on Dex saving throws against effects you can see, traps and spells, as long as you are not blinded, deafened, or incapacitated. This was changed in 1D&D to be advantage on all Dex saves unless you are incapacitated. Level 3. In 1D&D, there is a new feature called Primal Knowledge. You gain an additional skill from the level 1 Barbarian list, and while raging, you can use Strength for your skill checks with Acrobatics, Intimidation, Perception, Stealth, or Survival. Level 3, you also gain your subclass, known as a Primal Path. The Primal Paths available for Barbarian are Path of the Berserker, Path of the Totem Warrior was the name in 5th edition. In 1D&D, it is now Path of the Wild Heart, Path of the Zealot, and Path of the World Tree. Path of the Berserker. Warriors who give in to their unbridled rage and revel in the chaos of battle. Frenzy. In 5th edition, you would go into a frenzied rage and make a single melee attack as a bonus action on your turn. At the end of your rage, you would suffer 1 level of exhaustion. The exhaustion rules in 5th edition were, at 1, you would gain disadvantage on ability checks, including rolling initiative. At 2, your speed would be halved. At 3, you would have disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. At 4, your hit points would be halved. At 5, your speed would be reduced to 0. And at 6, you would die. To reduce exhaustion, you could reduce it by 1 after each long rest, as long as you consumed food or drink. In 1D&D, however, Frenzy is when you make a reckless attack while raging, and you hit your first target on your turn, they take an additional damage as a number of d6s equal to your rage damage bonus. Path of the Totem Warrior has now changed into the Path of the Wild Heart in 1D&D, warriors who channel their rage into the primal power of beasts with which they commune. Spirit Seeker in 5th edition has now become Animal Speaker in 1D&D. You can cast Beast Sense and Speak with Animals as rituals. In 1D&D, you now use Wisdom as your spellcasting modifier for these spells. Beast Sense is the same in 5th edition and 1D&D. It's concentration up to 1 hour. You touch a willing beast and use an action to see and hear through its senses until you use an action to end the effect. Speak with Animals is the same in 5th edition and 1D&D. It's duration of 10 minutes. You gain the ability to communicate with and understand beasts, possibly gaining information about nearby locations and monsters, including things they have perceived in the past day. DM discretion to persuade the beast to perform a small favor. And now we get to Totem Spirit, or what is known now in 1D&D as Rage of the Wilds. You choose an option between Bear, Eagle, and Wolf. Bear. In 5th edition, while raging, you would gain resistance to all damage except Psychic. This has changed slightly in 1D&D. While raging, you gain resistance to every damage type except Force, Necrotic, Psychic, and Radiant. Eagle. In 5th edition, while raging and not wearing heavy armor, opportunity attacks against you are at disadvantage, and you can dash as a bonus action. In 1D&D, however, when you activate your rage, you can take the disengage and dash action as part of your bonus action. And while raging, you can take both disengage and dash as a bonus action. So a single bonus action, you get both disengage and dash every turn. Wolf. Wolf is unchanged from 5th edition to 1D&D. While raging, your allies have advantage on melee attack rolls against hostile creatures within 5 feet of you. Path of the Zealot. Warriors whose rage is a divine boon. Path of the Zealot was first introduced to 5th edition in Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Divine Fury. This is unchanged in 1D&D. While raging, the first creature you hit on your turn takes additional damage equal to 1d6 plus half your barbarian level of either radiant or necrotic damage. You choose radiant or necrotic damage when you gain this feature at level 3. Warrior of the Gods. In 5th edition, spells such as Raise Dead can be cast on you without requiring their material components. These spells were Revivify, which costs 300 gold worth of diamonds, Raise Dead, which costs 500 gold worth of diamonds, Reincarnate, which costs 1,000 gold worth of rare oils and unguents, Resurrection, which costs 1,000 gold worth of diamonds, or True Resurrection, which costs 25,000 gold worth of diamonds. In 1D&D, Warrior of the Gods is now, you have a pool of 4 D12s you can spend to heal yourself as a bonus action. Your pool replenishes upon completing a long rest. You gain 1 additional dice to this pool at level 6, 12, and 17, where you will cap out at 7. Path of the World Tree. Warriors whose rage taps into the cosmic tree that connects all realms. This is brand new in 1D&D. Vitality of the Tree. Vitality Surge. When you rage, gain temporary HP equal to your barbarian level. Life-giving Force. At the start of your turn, while raging, you may grant an ally within 10 feet temporary HP equal to a roll of a number of d6s based on your bonus rage damage. This concludes the introduction to the Barbarian changes from 5th edition to 1D&D. If you found this video helpful or informative, please like and subscribe. I'm currently planning on doing the changes for levels 1 to 3 for each class in 1D&D. If you have feedback or preference for which class I do next, please let me know in the comments. Thank you.